just about start the recording today, and a story popped up on davidite.com, which is really a sign of the times. Scientists want you to get a brain chip to make you smarter, actually, more stupid. And intelligence agencies absolutely won't abuse this technology implanted in humans. You know, I do shake my head sometimes. This stuff was in my books in the 1990s, um, and it was apparently crazy and far out and some conspiracy theory, and it's happening. And it's happening because it's meant to happen. It's a long-term plan which has been in the making for a very long time, which is now being played out to a very clear script. This is the story. The next big evolutionary Orwellian technology is coming. Soon you will be able to implant yourself with a brain chip to be super smart, CBS Chicago reported. Elon Musk has previously criticized humans at a conference in Dubai. He expressed that artificial intelligence would surpass human beings and that we would be irrelevant if we didn't merge with machines. Musk plans to do this with his Neuralink product that can make anyone superhuman by connecting their brain to a computer chip. Neuralink is designing a cranial computer interface, or neural lace, although it's unclear what type of products their company will develop. The Wall Street Journal speculated that the first products could be advanced implants to treat brain disorders like epilepsy and major depression. Well, I get major depression every time I see Elon Musk, really, because as frauds go, they don't get much more blatant and colossal. This is a man who came out a few years ago now and said that artificial intelligence could be the end of humanity. And for once, he said something that was true. What he then did in response to this was to create this company, Neuralink, to connect artificial intelligence to the human brain. Unfortunately, he didn't connect it to his own. And what we've seen here in these first few paragraphs of this story is what I've been warning about all this time. First of all, the plan is to completely take humanity over by connecting artificial intelligence to the human brain, and then artificial intelligence becoming the human thought and emotional response processes. End of fricking story. That's the outcome, and we're seeing the move towards it. And so Elon Musk's get out of jail card, he doesn't really, for anyone with a brain, is saying, well, yeah, it is dangerous, and it could surpass human intelligence, which won't be too bleeding difficult with a lot of people, especially politicians and people like Elon Musk, funnily enough. But what we got to do is we got to merge with it to protect ourselves from it. You know, it's just crap. You know, it's the good cop, bad cop from Silicon Valley, where you've got Ray Kurzweil, the Google futurist, saying it's a wonderful thing. And Musk saying, well, it might not be a wonderful thing, but we've got to do it anyway. Otherwise, it will take over. Well, if it's connected to your human mind, you person with limited intelligence, you will be taken over anyway. Have you worked that out, Elon? Follow the thought processes? No, because you've got a mix here of those who know absolutely what they're doing and are cold and calculated about it, brackets, C. Kurzweil. And then you've got others who are either caught in the web because they worship the god of money, or they're caught in the web because they're so obsessed with artificial intelligence and what the possibilities are that pushing the limits of it is more important to them than the consequences of it. And in those few sentences, you've got basically the entire mentality of Silicon Valley. The other part of this opening to this story, the Wall Street Journal speculated that the first products could be advanced implants to treat brain disorders like epilepsy or major depression. Well, what I've been saying since the whole 1990s is that microchip implants would be sold, first of all, foot in the door, as an apparently good thing to treat things like that, and to chip your children so you'd never know, excuse me, oh God, you'd never lose your children. But these are foot in the door. See, it's a good thing, really, to get the real stuff, which is complete and utter human control. I'm just finishing a book at the moment, which appears to be about one thing, and it is very much about that, but actually puts that subject in the context of the wider picture, and I've got a hell of a lot to reveal about this whole control of the human mind stuff, which really, really does put current events into context, a context that wouldn't normally be seen. So this is just so obvious, another step on the road to the AI human, which will not be human at all. And of course, if you are wishing to introduce stuff like this and to introduce this whole range of human control facets and strands in this web of human perceptual domination, then you have to control information. You have to control information so that people only hear and see what will give them that perceptual download that you want them to believe in, and to stop other forms of information that would get people to see the world in a different way. And this is what this Article 13 is all about, running through the European Union. It's another strand in this whole enormous war now on freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and free circulation of information. And Article 13 is a scam using the excuse of copyright to basically shut down the free flow of information on the internet. And here's a story from this week. German Data Privacy Commissioner says Article 13 inevitably leads to filters, which inevitably leads to internet oligopoly. In other words, monopoly by oligarchs, which is what it's all about. German Data Privacy Commissioner Ulrich Kelber is also a computer scientist, which makes him uniquely qualified to comment on the potential consequences of the proposed EU copyright directive. The directive, which will be voted on at the end of the month, and it's Article 13, requires that online communities, platforms and services prevent their users from committing copyright infringement rather than ensuring that infringing materials are speedily removed. See, I can understand protection of copyright because, for instance, if you're writing books, that is a full-time job, and then people are circulating those books for free, and you're getting no income. Well, how are you gonna fund the next book? You're not. So it's actually a really bad block on ongoing creativity and production of this stuff. Same with, musicians and what have you. So, if something goes up and it's copyrighted, then as long as it's taken down immediately, well, okay. But that's not good enough, because that is not what this is about, of course. It's about censorship, a massive step forward in censorship. In a new official statement on the directive, Kelber warns that Article 13 will inevitably lead to the use of automated filters, because there is no imaginable way for the organizations that run online services to examine everything that users post and determine whether each message, photo, video, or audio clip is a copyright violation, which is exactly why Article 13 is written as it is. I mean, how much intelligence do people need to summon to see through this? Fortunately, lots of people are seeing through it. And that's what the filters will be algorithmic keywords, etc., maybe key phrases, that if it's there, then it won't be allowed to be posted, never mind taken down. It will never go up. This is where it's leading on purpose, the censorship of information before the point of delivery. Kelber goes on to warn that this will exacerbate the already dire problem of market concentration in the tech sector and expose Europeans to particular risk of online surveillance and manipulation. See, again, in this Orwellian inverted world, the European Union is trying to sell Article 13 as forcing the tech giants not to infringe copyright. But the idea is not to clip the wings of the tech giants, but to give them more power. And that this will give them more power to justify massive censorship of information. And that's the idea, because when people understand the concept that I talk about of the web, the tech giants and the European Union are controlled ultimately by the same force, and thus they're working to the same agenda if you go deep enough into their hierarchy. So Kelber goes on that this concentration of power in the tech sector is caused by Article 13. It's because under Article 13, Europe's online companies will be required to block all infringement, even if they are very small and specialized. The directive gives an online community 3 years grace period before it acquires this obligation. Less time if the services gross over 5 million a year. These small and medium-sized European services, SMEs, will not be able to afford to license the catalogues of the big movie, music, and book publishers, so they'll have to rely on filters to block the unlicensed material. But if a company is too small to afford licenses, it's also too small to build filters. Google's Content ID for YouTube cost a reported $100 million to build and run, and it only does a fraction of the blocking required under Article 13. This means that they'll have to buy filter services from someone else. The most likely filter vendors are the big tech companies like Google and Facebook, who will have to build and run filters anyway and could recoup their costs by renting access to these filters to smaller competitors, which means what? Complete centralization of power. If you're in Britain, please just contact your representative at the European Parliament and tell them that this is outrageous and they'll never get your vote if they vote for it, because it is destroying the internet. That's the idea. See, the internet was never meant to be a free flow of information. It was only like that to start with because they had to sell it and get everyone addicted to it and make it the central pillar of human communication. Once that was achieved, and it's been achieved, then they can start building the internet that they wanted all along through censorship. So only the authorities control the flow of information, and no one else. It's utterly disgusting and utterly transparent.
Every single event that we've done anywhere in the world, there's been certain groups that have contacted venues, made outrageous libelous claims about what David's going to speak about, and have, in many cases, got venues to cancel on us.
They tell the organisers that I'm going to go on the stage and I'm going to say a stream of racist things, none of which I have ever said, none of which am I ever going to say. What then happens, staggeringly, is that instead of coming to you and saying, well, these people have said you're going to say this, you're going to say that, what's going on? They pull the event. And we hear about the event we've been organising for months being cancelled. We hear about it in the media.
In Germany alone, for example, I've been in touch with over 70 venues, and we've still never managed to pull off a Germany show. And there's a venue that we had in Berlin, which to this day, nigh on well over a year, have never actually contacted me to tell me the event's been cancelled. I found out from a German newspaper when they published a story about it.
And my website is blocked in schools and universities and colleges. It's blocked in government departments and government agencies. And here's me, one person, who was supposed to be this great nutter, and the system is desperate to silence what I'm putting out and to stop as many people as possible ever hearing it. Why?